It's time to go fishing. In today's episode of Crappy Games I Should Have Never Bought! Welcome to the Ann Arbor Pinball Museum, the VFW, and we're here to talk about another game I should have never bought. Just kidding. I don't remember again how I got this game, but it's the 1968 Aqua Gun. I'm sure somebody dropped it off, felt sorry for it, and figured I would whomp it up and get it running. And they weren't wrong, because I did. And we're going to talk about some of the features of the game and why it's a semi-decent gun game. It was the first electronic sound gun game by Williams. All the other games before this were just bells. And everything after it used more advanced sound. Time feature is really pretty cool with this game because you are guaranteed a minimum of 25 shots. Look down here, it says 25 shots. But if you beat the timer, you can get a maximum. The timer's set to 50, even though it's scratched out. You can get 35 shots maximum. So I got, if we look back here, you can see 30 plus 5. I got my 35 shots in max. That's why the game ended before I clicked off 50. That is a really nice feature of this game. There's not a lot of Williams games that did this. I think there's only like one or two others that use that. Most of them are just straight shots. 25 shots, take as long as you want. The problem with those games is if you're in an arcade and somebody walks away, the game never ends and the motors just keep on running. But this was their first foray into electronic sound. And now I've added the feature with an MP3 card to make some additional sounds. So for instance, there's no gunshot sound, which kind of makes sense because you're underwater, Aqua Gun. You don't really get a gunshot. So I did like a harpoon sound and I made a aqua sounding background sound. Ooh, spooky, spooky stuff. There is recoil, I should say that. Oh, I should show you that while I'm thinking of it. Oh, bloody hell, I gotta lift this thing up. See, we got a big 120 volt coil. Every time you pull the trigger, this thing pulls in and it jerks the gun stock. So it's a nice recoil effect, but there's no sound related to the gun. And again, we've looked at this before, the stylus, and here's the little rivets that line up to hit your targets, which is really cool. Like this one, I believe, is the animal across the top, and then these are the animals in the middle, and then these are the animals more in the front. And it's all got to line up in order to score. Sharks! 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 Another thing I had to do is add a sight. For some reason, there was only one sight here, and it's almost missing, but at least there's something. But there was no sight back here, and you cannot aim a gun with one sight. You have to line up two sights. That's why a lot of people, depending on their height, they'll come and play a gun game and there won't be a back sight or there won't be a forward sight, and they can never hit anything because, you know, the guy that aligned the gun to the game was 6 feet tall and the person playing was 4 feet. Hey, and here's another little interesting fact. Look right there, Remington. This is actually a Remington 22. Here's the top area in the back of the game. Here is the little, I put an MP3 board in here for background sound and also for a kind of a harpoon sound for the gun. And the way I did that is if you come down here to the lock relay, I added this wire. There's a make break. Basically in one position, it's the game over light. In another position, it turns on the shark bonus. So I soldered it to the shark bonus, come up here to a bridge rectifier with a capacitor and a fuse that provides about 6 or 7 volts to this little board, this little MP3 board. And I could show you on the computer how I created the sounds. And then if you go over here, I added a speaker, a separate speaker, because, right here is the volume control for the speaker that it was supplied by Williams. Here, let me show you the electronics that they put into the game. But before I do that, I should also mention that on the cutoff relay here, I added this second switch, and that goes up to my MP3 board, and that's what gives me the harpoon sound when you fire the gun. If you're interested in more information on adding the MP3 board along with the sound effects to your game, you can go to this website on the web, pinrepair.com/arcade/aquagun.htm, and there is a complete description of how to actually implement that into your game. Going fishing, looking for a mermaid. The front grill off, and you can see here's the speaker and here's a little soundboard. I replaced the capacitors, and you can see there's two little tiny relays here, which are really kind of interesting. Let me start a game and show you. Hit the button. So the sound that you're hearing now is the background sound that I created. And then if you press this guy, or this guy, those are the sounds that are made by the game. And those are not very good sounds, I have to admit. But what they do is this board is generating those tones all the time. And basically, the game pulls in these relays that completes the path to the speaker for a short, 1 second burst to give it a hit sound when you hit an animal. Here's the bottom back of the game. And you can see that there's more motorized stuff. This is the animal that moves back and forth. This is a stepper unit that controls some of the other animals, and then these are the ones you shoot. But aside from all that, if we look in here, I added another black light. You could see the fluorescent tube up there? That would be this guy. That's stock. But this LED black light, I added. And it's a good thing I did, because the game was just bloody dark and not very fluorescent looking. With that LED black light, it really, really opened it up and made it look a lot more fluorescent and a lot brighter. Highly suggest it. They're only like 15 bucks on Amazon. Bloody sharks are scary. I have taken the front glass out so we don't get any reflection, and I'm going to play a game. Hopefully I can do better since I have a tripod involved this time. All right, here we go. Score reels reset. Now what's interesting, that's our timer. So as soon as I pull the trigger, then the timer starts going, which is kind of a cool feature. All right, here we go. See that guy? I can just keep shooting him back and forth. Keeps changing directions. And then you can get the sharks down there, and then the flying fish. Get those guys. I like this fat guy. Ah, take that, you freak. Another flying fish. Oh, I missed all the sharks. There's a shark. 2 sharks. Just 2 sharks. All right, and game over. So I got 35 shots in. And the reason why I got 35 shots is I beat the timer. Well, that's it for our Williams Aqua Gun from 1968. And I would also like to mention that bgresto.com redid our back glass for us. We're very, very fortunate to have that, because the one that was in there was just beat to death.